Ah. That sounds just like it. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. That can mean me. Don't stop by. Sounds just like it. It's great. Again. Oh, the overhead's ridiculous. That's gotta be a real drum, I think. It's, I was unnecessarily down on myself with this music shit. It's just a matter of just doing it over and over. It's the same as fucking anything else. It's not magical, which I think sucks, kind of, that it's not very magical. But like it is kind of, but like you just do it a lot. Just try to make what you want to make. You know, like just fucking do it. Uh, I wish I could like really detailedly EQ each thing. I don't know why I can't. It's really stupid. It's dumb. Oh. Well, that's weird. It's more cut. That's weird. What the fuck is this? Uh, then. Oh, yeah, basic. That's not good. Oh, there's a kick on each thing. That's different. This is why the study is really good because it's like you get to really figure out how it's done. You know. Great. Love artists, man. Like you can just get the basic parts down, right? My hair looks crazy. Just get the basic parts down, right? Um, and what is it? Then you can add all the details later. If you get like each hit, each proper instrument down, then you have the basic song, which is cool. And then you can just keep modifying. See, the whole structure is there, and you just have to modify like the details of each thing. You have the structure there. It's good. It's really solid. If you think about it, and then you just modify each individual note, each individual sound, different little tricks, panning, EQ, mixing, you know, just straight up amplitude, volume, and then just fine tune until it matches. And then you know how to do it. You can recreate that song, that sound, whatever sound you're trying to recreate. You know how to do it because you can do it, right? And you did it. And then just maybe do it a few more times so you understand it, that kind of thing. It's pretty cool. I mean, that could be an effect that they're doing, but you don't have to do it. Whatever. He's got that great guitar, and it's such good guitar. Really good. Really good. See, but you don't learn when you're just like learning riffs on guitar. When you're like just studying like classic riffs or whatever the fuck. You don't learn these creative ways that they use it in production to like add texture or something. Or like, and I used to hate that shit. I was like, I want to be the lead. I don't care. Like, but like, I don't know. Like, it's possible. I think. So, by the way, what I'm doing is I'm recreating Dandadan, the second season. Excuse me, the credits theme is "どうかしてる?" 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 Something like that. I don't know what that means. Um, but it's by Wurts, Wurts, not Wurst Tim Henson. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. I was watching the latest episode of Dandadan, and we just came out like today or yesterday or something, and I was listening to the credits scene. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. It's very like makes you feel like a kid again, and I could see like the animators and everything is very kid like, and they just think they're in their 20s and they're gonna live forever. And it's great, And I miss that feeling because I'm fucking 32, so I want to recreate what they're doing. But that's what this is. I'm listening to the song off screen, so you can't hear it because it's copyrighted. But I'm recreating the songs. I'm listening back and forth, and but you can hear what I'm doing. So anyway, but like yeah, but they're doing right in that intro. It's like you know, like, but I don't have my guitar on me. But it's like I think they're doing like this kind of like higher up guitar. They're not necessarily doing these low power chords. They're doing like that kind of thing. But a lot of like classic rock guitar and stuff. I mean, they might be doing stuff like that, but I feel like it's so much more like riff oriented. Like they're playing a lot down here, towards the nut, right? Like towards the low end of the guitar, and or it's like really obvious high end or something. But there's all this stuff right in the middle, uh, your 12th fret or so under it, where they're doing like this like high pitched kind of like, and like they can like make it fade more to the background. It adds like this really nice texture. And I don't know, maybe it's just that my guitar study didn't take me that far. I just didn't notice it, or I didn't make that much of an effort to learn all of these details or really notice all these details and emulate them or recreate them. But you notice that in like kind of like newer stuff, or it's more poppy. They use the guitar as more like a texture, and less like, this forefront kind of thing. And they will do that sometimes, but like often like you'll hear it and it's more subtle. And like a lot of rock music, obviously the guitar is much more in the forefront. It's like the guitar is the cool thing. But I don't know, like what I notice is like listening to more of this like more poppy kind of stuff. It's you know, no one instrument really takes the forefront besides the vocals. Usually the vocals will do that. And you know, in this case there's like a synth that plays. Their version sounds cool. So I'm trying to make my version sound like theirs. That's what I'm doing. And so it's you copy the notes, but you also copy the mixing and EQ, stuff like that. Yeah, you notice that more. And like I said, I typically didn't really like that kind of stuff, but I don't know. It sort of like opens up your musical taste to be like, instead of just guitar centric and guitar oriented, it's more like, you're just creating interesting audio to listen to, as opposed to like what's interesting guitar to listen to. That's how I've been for a long time. But when you realize like what music is, like, well, what is it? It's really just like pleasing audio, and like typically music is like it's like kind of like regular beats chopped up and in some sort of complex way, that's sort of like pleasing. It sounds like music because it's like some sort of organized sort of sound. It's like you know, and there's something about that that's has some sort of effect on humans because if you know anything about sound, fundamental aspects about sound actually are rhythmic. It's like like a sine wave. It's like it's very much like it. So my little pet theory that I've been developing of what music is and why it has an effect is because of the fundamental nature of sound itself is rhythmic and it's a pattern, it's cyclical. And so music is just sort of an expansion of that. And it's really interesting because it's pretty simple. And if you listen to like, more sounds in nature, they're not very simple. They get more complex. So it's simple sounds built on each other. And if you listen to like humans talking, for example. It's very complex. It's not rhythmic, and like there can be a sing-songy quality to it for sure, but it's not like bum 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 bum. Because the second you start doing stuff like that, that's when it sounds like poetry or art or music. Um, so it's distinct and it almost puts you in this sort of trance, this sort of like zone, this musical zone, this art zone, or it's you feel like it's artistically created or something. Where someone's doing like poetry or they're singing, you know. But if you really think about it, I think it actually things get simpler because you're artfully arranging like just kind of simple numbers, and you can get really complicated with it, of course. But like I don't know. Anyway, it's just stuff that you pick up over time. Like I saw music as so simple and everything was about notes and rhythm and chopping things up. But when you're starting to like recreate other people's songs, in like a and it's not just about like learning the notes. It's about learning, and it's not just about learning like how the notes were played. It's also like how it's mixed, how it's recorded, and to get like not just the notes, not just like kind of the sound or kind of the articulation or the articulation. It's like everything. It's like the mixing too. There's so much that goes into creating like a piece of audio, and you start to like think of like the mix of it and the mastering, like how it's engineered, how it's created, the effects and everything on the computer, and not just the fact that there's delay on it, but the exact delay and the exact quality of the delay and exactly how it's being ping pong panned, through each ear and doing it like exactly on, so it sounds exactly the same or as close as you can get to it. Like there's so much detail to it. It's the same thing as like taking somebody's art piece and trying to copy not just the general shapes and the strokes, but like the exact strokes that they're making. There's so much to it. It really is like a fractal, and it's crazy. But there's more to learn. I just thought it was just about like notes and stuff, but like no, this is more. So it's cool. Anyway, I'm trying to do this instead of like engineering. I don't know. Maybe I should be appreciative of what I have too. It's a really nice hi-fi kick in there too. Um, oh, I should be the producer. Yeah, no, that's not it's um, it's the samples. I'm not the only live. Oh, I messed it up. Do yourself a favor and learn like keyboard shortcuts and shit. Like, I don't know. You're gonna have like people. Where the fuck is it? Excuse me. Oh, no, it's just, excuse me. I just some shivers. You're gonna have people who are like really good at just like keyboard writing. I became one of those people because like doing software engineering, right? Like, you know, it's kind of like street cred, but also it is it's street cred and it's fun and it's also like it does kind of make you more productive, or at least it feels that way. If you can do a lot of like crazy keyboard shortcuts. Um, and I got into this mode where like I just had like so much economy towards what I was doing, like just do all these like crazy keyboard short oh shit. Oops. um to like excuse me, I don't know what that is. To like really like speed through my IDE and my computer and do all this crazy shit. And like I do that now. Like I still navigate my computer in like these like crazy ways and stuff, um, which is cool. But and like you'll get like that fast doing stuff. But like the most important thing is making something and releasing it. That's how it always is. Because you could be like just really good at like keyboard dick riding or whatever. It's not the right expression, but like if you're not releasing any music, there's no point. You know, it's like Gordon Willis, the cinematographer of The Godfather. Um, he said stuff like, it's really stupid. Not very stupid. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly what he said, but like it's something like, don't get too into like cameras and stuff like this for movie making, but it's like don't get into like the tools and like all that stuff, like because it doesn't matter because it's like a camera is just a tool and you're using it to create the movie, right? So you can get like crazy into like, oh, like this pickup and that pickup, and I notice that when I see like all these like gearheads online and shit with YouTube and everything, and like they're so really into all the pickups and stuff, and like look, maybe their place, like what they do, I don't want to limit them, right? But maybe what they like to do, what they enjoy doing, and like how they can help everybody, right? It's like those are the people who are like making a new amp or something, and they're wiring it in a different way so that it sounds better, or that you can get a different kind of sound out of it. And it's really cool. And like that's what they're into, right? Or that's what they do. And you have someone else who comes in, like a guitarist, and they just know that that new sound now exists, right? And they play along with that sound on their new record, right? And they write the song, right? And you could be both, sure, but it just depends on what your goal is, I guess. Like if you want to create really great artwork, I feel like you really have to focus, and because it takes a lot of time, and you can get into all this different shit, like all these different guitars and stuff, but like then you can just have like somebody with one guitar and they write really great fucking music because that's all they're doing all day. Like they're just making music. And like yeah, you're gonna pick up stuff. You're gonna, oh, I like this sound. I like it when the guitar sounds a little crunchier. I like taking off some of the high end because I just like that. Like I think I was watching Eric Johnson on Rick Beato. That's the how I'm talking. But he was like, yeah, I don't really like guitar with a lot of high end. And like that's just his taste, I guess. It's like he's just like he ended up there just by messing around and stuff. But like um, you know, you're gonna like do stuff like that when, and at a certain point if you feel like there's not much else to do, then yeah, you're gonna get into stuff like that, sure. But I don't know if you're like in the beginning stages and you're like learning guitar and you get kind of good and you learn some songs and you're in it, you start riding those waves, right? You start riding the wave. Um, there's so much gear out there and there's so much like guitars and stuff and different things to do. And it's fun. It's cool to explore. It really is. It really is fun. But like after a while, you're gonna start to feel unproductive, and that's what happened to me because I just kept like learning about different things, like different pedals and stuff, and it's really cool. But then like there's all these like different distortion pedals, and you're like, okay, cool, but like I don't have any songs, you know. So and like I said, it depends on where you want to stop. There might be people who are just like, I just want to be a guitarist. I don't really care about writing music. I just want to be like a session musician or something. And I like learning all these different guitar techniques. I like soloing. Um, okay. And I was kind of there, but I became unsatisfied because I'm like, well, I want to say what I want to say. And I'm having trouble doing that. Or like, how are these people writing all of these solos? I don't just want to play other people's songs. I want to write my own. And I don't really know what to do. Um, I don't know, but that's sort of like I sort of like pushed myself out of that, and I do regret it a bit because like I stopped really like practicing guitar, and I look at people like Tim Henson, and I'm like, man, his technique is really good, and he's really clean, and it's just he's really good, that like all this like technical stuff. Ichika Nito is another example, and I regret like not sitting there and like practicing all that stuff for hours on end because I don't know I think I thought I couldn't do it and I kind of didn't know how, but I kind of told myself like with cope like, oh no, there's a better way. But like really I know how to do it now. It's you just sit there and you practice it over and over. There's not really I'm not denigrating those people, and like I haven't fully done it yet or really done it. So like maybe there's more that will illuminate itself to me. But it's pretty simple. It's just like, you go to the gym and lift the weights. And you're like, well, how do they look like that? It's like they go to the gym and they lift the weights like every day or like consistently every single week. And they don't stop until they look like that. That's it. And like at a certain point, yeah, there's this, you target certain things and you get more artful with it, a little bit more artful. I don't know, like oh, like just do like a little, not as many reps with this, so like more reps on that, focus on this area for a while, or just like and that part of your arm is kind of like doing maintenance or something. So you're kind of like sculpting your body. It's the same thing with guitar probably. Where it's just like you know, you just get really clean doing different things, and it's like all right, well, but I like this kind of like choppy kind of style over here or something. So you practice doing more like staccato or whatever, and you end up in this sort of like U shaped, like YOU, like you yourself, U shaped area where it's like you just kind of keep exploring your own tastes, and you end up with something like Eric Johnson where he's like, yeah, for some reason I just or whatever he said. And with the hours, he's like, I just like guitar with less high end. I just kind of roll off the high ends. That's just him, and you get this very specific kind of thing, which is really cool. So I don't know. I feel like I'm meandering. I need to do stuff. So, but I don't know. It's just you can get really lost in the weeds of like learning all this different stuff and like exploring all these different guitar pedals and stuff. But like at the end of the day, at some point, if that's your goal, you got to sit down and write some songs, and you got to try to figure that out. And it's less. It matters less like what kind of complicated amp you use, or boutique or expensive or well crafted. It could sound fucking amazing. It could be great, like, sure, but don't use that to like avoid writing music because writing music is scary. It is for me. It's really scary and it's hard, and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. and that's it. It makes it easy to avoid it, right? Because I'm just like, well, my comfort zone is just doing scale runs or something, or like whatever, doing the same lick over and over like an idiot. I would do that a lot, or just like playing other people's music. And I think that is really good. Like what I'm doing here, I'm doing a recreation. Like I'm trying to do a one to one, right? And it's really early, but and that you can learn a lot doing that. This is like a master study, they call it. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like what plugins am I using to do this? Like, dude, I'm using default fucking Logic Pro plugins. You can't even see it because my stupid streamer sucks ass. But it's just default Logic Pro, you know. And like there's like default extra sounds you can download, and I got some of those. But it, like Apple made these. I'd spent no money. I spent $300 to buy the program. I have no extra plugins on here. I have like you know, like a this like synthesizer, like 8-bit synthesizer that I downloaded. That was free. I have like a sampler that you can use to make like Super Nintendo sounding things. That was free. Um, but like I'm kind of almost purposefully trying to use all the default plugins because you really like. I feel like you really learn a lot that way. It's really stripped down. So if it's forcing me to like try to do things as minimally as possible, which I feel like is really good because I'm like just messing around with EQ and like just simple things like doubling the Haas effect, simple stuff. Um, and just it's all really simple tools. It's so basic, And I'm gonna look back on if I keep going with this music shit. I'm gonna look back on this in a year and be like, all right, why did talk as if I knew what I was talking about? Like, but I don't know. I feel like it's helping because it's like they say like early on in your music journey, like it's easy to like think you need all these plugins and stuff. I don't know if that's exactly what people are saying anymore. Um, but like, oh, I need like like a fancy program or something. Like but I don't know. Just mess around with whatever. I feel like if you get like a professional level DAW, which aren't that expensive nowadays. Like you can get Logic Pro for like $300. You get Ableton for like 200 or like $100, right? Um, then just try to do everything with the default, and I think it's pretty good. So yeah, kind of pretty close. Okay, I gotta not do that. Okay, so it's like actually goes like kind of quick here. I gotta go mid soon, but I just really want to start this and try to mess around with like the real. Because I was doing this on my phone, actually. I was like fucking around. Because you get GarageBand on your phone. And, I used to think that stuff is really dumb, but like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like, if you're really into music and making music, then like you can get ideas down on there. You can record some stuff. And if like you carry around your guitar with you or something, um, you know, you can just like I'm sure they have like a guitar plug-in to Thunderbolt, whatever, uh, converter, that kind of thing. You could do that, or like guitar plug-in to like tiny amplifier, like Fender makes one, Vox makes them, um, and then output to quarter inch, and then they have a quarter inch to Thunderbolt. So you could probably use that as input or something, um, or some sort of whatever. I think like Fender actually you could plug it straight into your phone. One of them, I feel like I saw that on Amazon or something. But yeah, and then there's guitar sounds on there and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like you can do that. It's just unfortunate because there's always like a delay, like a Bluetooth device. It's not like you can't get it like it's just like a few milliseconds off. Um, but yeah, I feel like if you're really serious about music and you're trying to make music and you're really into this, then like you can use it to like prototype some sounds or some like little ideas or little parts. Or if you're like out and about, you don't have your computer on you, but you got some AirPods or something, or not even AirPods because you just use your phone speakers. Um, like, oh, I heard this like really cool thing. Let me try to figure that out really quick. And then you just kind of take some notes and you write it down for yourself. And oh yeah, I got it. Like that's the drum beat for that, or that's the melody for that, or that's the bass line for that. And then you could like mix it together. Like, okay, that's the basic idea. Cool. And then you have that. You can export it as like a little audio file, send it to somebody. You can export the file, like the actual raw like project file onto your computer later and put it into GarageBand or Logic, you know. And this could be the same if you have like any sort of like mobile, like little phone app that can make music. If you can like export the file somehow, you can use it to learn, figure something out, mess around with ideas, or to like start something or prototype or whatever. It's just a tiny little stripped down thing. And then they have little like almost like a little chaos pad on there. This is probably standard now, like on like DJ equipment, where like you have like little pads you can like do like little effects, like this kind of thing. Um, or like that, which is pretty cool. It's fun, So you can like mess around and do like quick little things. It's just kind of cool to do. And I think there's also like a Logic remote that you can put on here. Let me see. Which that's actually really cool. Oh yeah, I see this dude doing like live stuff, which is cool. He Yeah, okay, I have it. Yeah, and I think they're doing like Logic Pro for iPad now, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so I have the Logic remote on here. Um, but yeah, like I see this guy, like this live show. He's like walking around with his phone adjusting levels, which is really cool. I mean, that's awesome because it makes it so easy. Because you can just have like a live setup and just walk around with your phone, have like a little have like a bunch of faders on there and some settings or whatever, and you could just like walk around the venue and try to like make things sound nice in different parts of the venue so you get a good balance. That's really cool. It's fucking awesome, actually. It's so cool. Oh, I'm gonna try to make it work here. Oh, it's not trying. Um, I wonder why. I've had it working before, like on an iPad. I have the program on the iPad, but it's cool. I mean, if you can just like kind of control some stuff, I mean, I feel like that's pretty dope. Um, because it's basically like a tiny little monitor. It's pretty much what it is. Which is that's pretty cool. Pretty useful. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know. It's more music stuff. Just keep going. Like a big insight that I feel like has been really helping me is recreations because for some reason I thought like I had to like learn how to mix from like first principles basically like I cannot like I'm like listening to a song I'm like well, how the fuck did they do that and just by trying to recreate the song you kind of figure out how the fuck they do that you kind of just do it because like you just you kind of have to rack your brain and use all your knowledge to like well let me what if I try this and you kind of just can start to figure some stuff out which is really cool um you know and that it's like the same thing as like when you're learning guitar or like learning a musical instrument you learn other people's songs and then you kind of like pick up some tricks that way right and you'll learn how to play your instrument faster doing that than just by practicing scales and learning music theory and learning chords and stuff like yeah you can learn that stuff like start out with the basics like learn like basic major minor scale pentatonic scales like on guitar for example major minor pentatonic and learn some open chords and learn basic bar chord shapes major minor on like the E and A string and you can learn some triads too I always kind of skimp down on those and maybe some fancier ones like major seven, minor seven, or dominant seven, and then you can hit the ground running with that, man. Like you do a lot of stuff with that, a lot of stuff. You can do like basic versions of a lot of songs, and you can start to figure out more complicated things later on. Like I remember, like yeah, I keep thinking that my mom didn't really support what I was doing, but she did. She showed me a lot of stuff. She helped me out a lot with it. I don't know why I started thinking that. I think I just got it in my head that like maybe she thought like it wasn't I couldn't like really do it, but I think maybe she kind of did. And she was just like, all right, well if you're gonna do it, go do it. But I don't know. Maybe what I wanted was for her to send me off with a smile. I don't know. I freaked out. Like music is really scary, especially like I will say this: being a public person is really scary. That's what I was scared of. I think is really scary because like there's a lot of jobs and a lot of things that you can do that can be more faceless, right? And I think this is where I tripped up. That's what happened to me. Like you can do visual art, right? And you don't really have to show your face. You could do it with music too. Like, how many people recognize the guys from Daft Punk on the street? There's a lot of people would. If you put on the helmets, yeah, you might recognize them. At least for me, I'm not like a huge Daft Punk fan, but versus somebody like Bruno Mars, you recognize him. Michael Jackson, obviously, when he was alive. Um, you recognize him more. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. Like I think I didn't I struggled so much with this like public persona of like I'm I may be perceived by the entire world, and I don't know how to deal with it. You know, and I freaked out. I really freaked out, and also like I just wanted to be successful because I saw people making like bad music, and I was like, I whatever I do, I cannot be that. Not just bad music, because there's music that I thought wasn't very good that people liked, that had fans and stuff, and they made money. But there's also like really bad music, like cringy music that people really didn't like at all. Like Rebecca Black's Friday, and like bless her heart, she's doing well now. Like she has a career, but like I was just like, what if I make something like that? And I saw this like awful TikTok. Um, there's this meme going around of this guy. He's like on the beach, you know, doing one of those like things. Like he's got the acoustic guitar, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna live a normal life, and but what about the adventure?" You know, this kind of thing. And people keep sharing it around because they're saying it's really cringy and really bad. And some asshole, some guy that I really don't like, that I would have been on his side even like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, maybe. Where he's just like, yeah, I'm a music producer, and I always tell people like, don't worry, like just put your music out there. Like nobody cares as much as you think. And then he's like, yeah, well, sometimes people do care. There's a 1% chance that you can make music that is like really cringy, and people are gonna make fun of you, that kind of thing. And like, yeah, that's but and he's I didn't watch the whole thing, so maybe he did go into like a good way of saying it at the end. But it sounded like he was kind of being a dick. He was just like, yeah, sometimes your music is really bad and you should stop, that kind of thing. And what I think is like, yeah, sometimes your music really is that cringy, but it doesn't mean you should stop. I think like if you like doing it, you know, then whatever. And some people say, well, maybe there's someone else who likes it or whatever. I don't know. I think like what's most important is if you like it, and art. And I think like it's not just art, but like any kind of work that you do, where it's some sort of like production work where you're producing something, where you have to like get good at producing that thing, and you get better at producing that thing over time, so the quality of your work increases over time. Um, no matter what it is, like you're gonna look back on your past works, and you're gonna be like, ugh, you know, it just happens. It's fine. I hated that feeling because I was so critical of not just my art but everybody else's art too. So critical, and I don't want to lose that critical eye or that critical ear, that perception. But ooh, I guess that's a general term for all the senses, right? Perception. I don't know. Or sense. But that doesn't mean like you have to stop. Yeah. Like it was really popular hit on Rebecca Black when she made her song, but I think it's easy to just go along with that. But I think if you want to be like the 1% of people who are like, look, it's not that great, but I think you should keep going. Because when I look back on like Rebecca Black's music, like first of all, she had an entire song that was mixed and mastered, and she wrote it, is recorded, and she had a whole music video that she shot. That's a lot more than what a lot of people do. I don't have a single music video out, not one. I actually filmed one the other day. So I really should edit it. I'm sniffling because I don't know, my nose is running. Seems like I'm crying, but I don't know. But it really is kind of true where it's just like, you know, you can't be this kind of person who's just like a dick. I don't know. You just can't do it. Um, and I've actually made some music that's like really bad. That's really fucking awful, but I've released it anyway. I almost like kind of made things that were purposefully bad. Um, because I don't know, I wanted to there's like an experiment that I was like kind of trying to do. Um, what the hell? I was like trying to see like what's the minimum kind of uh song that I can do that would get that people would like, and I made some music that people actually kind of like, but I don't know. I'm just saying that just keep making, so keep improving, and you could make the newest cringe meme. You could, and you can stop there, like Rebecca Black made her video, but or like this new guy that's out that he made some. It's going around on TikTok. He's like singing on the beach in a hoodie with an acoustic guitar, and he's like, I'm sorry, man. Um, he could stop there. He could never make music ever again, or never release it ever again, or he could keep going and get better. And Rebecca Black did that. Yeah, she just kept going, and then she like got a band and like just kept doing stuff. And yeah, you're fighting against this like terrible, terrible energy, which is just like, you shouldn't make anything ever again. But like, I don't know, fuck the world. If you feel like you have something to say and you like doing it, at the very least, doing it. So that's it. But I'm gonna sign off soon. I gotta go to bed. So shit. Okay. No, what the fuck? Okay. Why did this sound like what the fuck? Oh, okay. I'm gonna sleep soon. I guess I'll go until the computer dies. So if the stream cuts out, it means my computer died. So wait. Yeah. I think I always just felt pressured to make money. It was that kind of thing. But I'm a creative, and artists are very much dreamers. They like to sit there and kind of like let their minds wander. Like, what would be cool if I did that? And that sounds like space cadetism, And I think all you have to do is just try to make those things a reality. That's it. And people are like, well, that's not guaranteed. And it's like, yeah, it's not. But like, I don't know. I think there's just something about if you just keep making stuff, like knock on wood, it almost becomes a guarantee. Because if you just make it better and better and better, it becomes hard to ignore. And if it's at least above a certain standard, um, which, that's not exactly something you can write down on paper. You sort of just like listen to music that you think is good and or sounds professional. And if your music seems like it can kind of stand at least next to them or above them, then I feel like, you can make money, you can have a career, you can have people listening to you, you can play shows. So just get to that point and like then it's like, well then that's all luck. And it's like, well, it's not all luck. You gotta be good. You gotta have something that people want to see or hear or consume, experience in some way. It's gotta be something, you know. But if you don't have that, if you can have a lucky opportunity, but if you don't not good enough for the opportunity, then like what good is the luck, right? So don't focus on the luck, just do everything you can control, right? And it's like that thing they say, like you create your own luck, where somebody like Victor Wooten, for example. Like, yeah, there's aspects about his life that's lucky. Like for me too. There's many aspects about my life that I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed. 100%. 100%. It's just like, I was born in a really good area, good family, that kind of thing. Um, like, well, I had the opportunity to do stuff like this. Not many people do. Like, not all people do, right? And it's more common nowadays, but it's still not, like I had great access to great things. And I think I just kind of struggled with getting all the way there. I didn't fully know how to do that and understand. And it seemed like the people around me didn't understand it either. It was just like, I can't break past a certain point. And I think that's where I got frustrated and I started to feel like, well, I have nothing. That wasn't true. I had a fun time. So thanks, mom. Thanks, dad. I have to be thankful. So I'm sorry for not being thankful for that. Uh, but like, you know, none of that stuff or this stuff would have counted if you don't like keep going to try to improve on it, right? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because like, you can be, the son of Paul McCartney or something, Paul McCartney's kid, but if you're not sitting there every day like Paul McCartney was, writing music, in the studio, notepad, guitar out, by the piano, doing stuff, recording, putting stuff out there, playing shows, learning other people's songs, learning about music. If you're not doing that, it doesn't matter what kind of opportunities you have because you're not utilizing them. So, and I had all these great opportunities, and I did utilize them, but not as much as I could have or should have. And I got lazy and I wouldn't practice and stuff. But I think like I did have some insight too, because like I think I was sort of I did have an insight like it doesn't seem like productive to just sit there and practice scales all day. I don't really understand that. And there's other people that don't do that at all, and they're famous. So what do they have that I don't have? Like what are they doing? And I feel like I've discovered some of those things. Some of it is just like sauce, which I feel like I can sort of break down, and we'll see if I'm right about that. I don't know, but the rest of it is like a lot of these people. I feel like they're copying other people's songs all day. They're learning other people's music. They're getting inspired, and they're writing their own stuff. And that's where I wasn't doing things because I didn't know how to write. I didn't know what to do. But once you realize that like a lot of writing is just you're just kind of like you jump into the void and just start putting something down, or like you're doing something that's like something else, like I want to make a rock song. It's like, okay, well, there's so much other people's influence going into that, and you're just doing something a little bit different, right? It's not completely original, but a lot of people are doing stuff like that. And then a lot of it is like you just make something and you listen back to it, and then based off of what you think, you're like, I hate that. I think the bass should be quieter or something. Or like, what if I add like another part here? Or like the guitar's out of tune. I got to re-record that. And you perceive it as a listener, as a consumer, instead of a writer. You know, that's a big part of it too. Because then it's almost like you keep staring at the mirror and keep like iteratively fixing things until you like what you see. And you say, well, that's crazy, but it's like that's ultimately like what you're doing. That's what art is. It's just sort of you're expressing yourself in the way that you want to. Hang on, let me try to add a little bit more music before my computer dies. Just have fun. You gotta just have fun, man. That youthful energy. And I don't know if I can ever get that back because I'm old. I'm 32. But like, you know, there's something to be said for a bunch of group of 20-year-old guys just having a good fucking time. Because this is the highlight of your life. And you never think that when you're in it, but it really is like the best. It's the best. Even if you're fucking poor as hell, it sucks, you know. But that's why I think that you really shouldn't be giving kids such a hard time. Like, yeah, you gotta like you can't let them do whatever, you know. Don't, but like we should be helping kids because that's like the summer of life, like your 20s. It really is. That's the summer, and it's just amazing. And then, past that, it's like fall. It just is. It just is. And it sucks. But I think we should basically like what is humanity about? Like, why do we keep the cycle going? It's because the summer is so good. Like, really, it's so good. So good. And I think we should try to make the summer for each new crop of humans as good as we possibly can. And then they can do it next. It's sort of like a gift. We create a new crop of humans and we charge them all up so they can have an amazing summer and spring too, I guess, as much as I can. Um, you know, but yeah, because it's just an amazing high. It's a story. It's a journey of your life, journey of your lives. So, I don't know. She was about to die, so um, oh, I lost my reverb.